Hey guys, hope you're well. Welcome to meditation session number 9. Last week's theme, we looked at tough times. We looked at 3 tips that you can use to get you through tough times. Those tips were gratitude, widening your perspective, as well as helping someone else. This week's theme, we're going to look at what it means to be a man. And the reason I chose that theme is obviously because it is Father's Day this weekend, as well as I believe that, the traditional ideas associated with what being a man is completely outdated, as well as not practical and not useful anymore. So with that being said, I have 5 points that I believe relates to what it means to be a man. So the first point is based around emotional intelligence. And I think this topic is extremely important in relation to what it means to be a man, particularly because, the traditional ideas of being a man do not really focus on emotions. They don't focus on emotional well-being. They don't focus on emotional health. As a man, you're supposed to keep your feelings bottled up. You're not supposed to express how you feel. You're not supposed to show others that you can help them through, tough times surrounding their emotions. And I think this has, real negative consequences for the man himself, as well as for those around him, for his family, for his friends. So I think adopting the mindset that emotional intelligence is something that is extremely powerful and is helpful to those around you is extremely important in relation to being a man. So the first step is to obviously become emotionally intelligent yourself. And the reason for that being is once you become emotionally intelligent yourself, you're able to help others with their emotions. And that is extremely powerful because, if you want to help others in whatever situation it is, primarily it all comes down to helping people with their emotions, helping people with how they feel, being able to put yourself in another person's shoes, to see things from their perspective. And you're not able to do that if you are not emotionally intelligent yourself. So I think we need to look at being a man as, focusing more on the emotional side, opposed to, all those other things that are associated with it. It becomes far more powerful. It has much more ability and much more of a chance to help your family. If you are a father and you create emotionally intelligent children, they're going to go off and, create emotionally intelligent friends. And they're going to live happier lives, healthier lives. So yeah, the idea around emotional intelligence is the first point around what it means to be a man. The second point I want to speak about is to stand up for others who can't stand up for themselves. And the reason I think this is super important is because often if we see someone getting bullied or someone being made fun of, often when we're younger or whenever it is, we feel that if we go and help that person, if we stand out and do something against what the cool kids think, that we won't be well respected, or they'll think differently of us. And I think that mindset is toxic. And what's really powerful and what being a man is to stand up to those people and to actually not care at all what they think and just go and help those, especially those who can't stand up for themselves. I think that's what being a man is putting yourself in those positions even when it's the right thing to do, no matter what others are going to think of you. And it's extremely important in setting that example, because when others see you doing that, the more often you do it, eventually you're going to attract people around you that are on the same mission as you, that are on your same path. And anyone who laughs at you for helping others, when they can't help themselves, for standing up for others that can't stand up for themselves, those people you don't want in your life anyway. So yeah, second point is stand up for others who can't stand up for themselves. The third point is putting your ego aside. Now, putting your ego aside is an extremely important point, at least from my side, and the reason being is because I think most men have really big egos. And the problem with having a big ego is that not only does it prevent you from living your best life, but it often has, terrible consequences for those around you as well. And the reason being is that, you know, for various reasons, we all have an ego to an extent. You know, whether that ego is created by society, whether it's created by your perceptions of certain things, whatever it may be. I think the general idea around the ego of a man is that, you know, they can't lose. You need to up your mates. You need to keep upping the next person. You need to be better than the next. You know, and that has negative consequences in so many ways. And I think the first reason, at least something that I've seen happen often, is especially, I guess, in physical confrontations. You know, when something stupid happens, you know, two guys get into an argument about something, and, you know, both the guys have really big egos. They know everyone's watching, and, you know, it turns into this whole physical testosterone battle where the one guy needs to beat up the other guy. And I think that all just comes down to your ego. You know, if you look at it logically and rationally, it should never ever get to that situation. And it doesn't matter what anyone calls you. It doesn't matter, you know, what anyone thinks of you. You need to put your ego aside and just walk away from those sort of situations. You know, being a man isn't about beating up the next guy, or, you know, asserting your dominance in whatever way you see fit. Being a man is being able to take a step back from the situation and see how your actions are going to affect those around you. That's what being a man is. It's not about, you know, showing off your power. It's about actually thinking about the situation. What effect is this going to have on those around me? And how best can you control yourself to make sure that that doesn't happen? Putting your ego aside is also extremely important in relation to how you view others and how you view the roles of those around you. You know, whether that be in the business world, whether that be in your personal relationships, your home life, whatever it may be. If you have an ego and think that, you know, you need to be the one doing certain things and that other people can't be doing certain things, that's going to have a real negative effect on your life. Because first of all, you know, the world has completely changed, and if you still have an ego and think that, you know, you can't have this role if a woman is your superior, or, you know, you can't date this person or marry this person because they're going to make more money than you. You know, those stupid ego things. First of all, you're going to miss the boat, because, you know, no one's going to want to work with you for various reasons. And the second reason being is you're just going to make the lives of those around you very miserable. Because, you know, if you want to be a man, and, you know, ultimately what you should want to do is create a situation where you allow people to be the best versions of themselves. And if you have an ego and try and define people into certain roles, those people are not going to live their happiest lives. They're not going to be as effective as they can. And you're going to be responsible for that purely because you have an ego and you're not able to see beyond your limited idea of how things should be. So, you know, leaving your ego at the door, allowing people to be the best versions of themselves, no matter what sex they are, no matter what race they are, that, you know, that's what it's about. Your ego it's just going to stop you. It doesn't allow you to be the best version of yourself. And if you do believe that, you know, your responsibility as a man is to help the lives of all of those around you, you know, putting your ego aside and, you know, leaving old ideas in the past is what needs to happen. Changing your mind is a superpower. It's not a weakness. Admitting you were wrong, or admitting that things aren't the way they used to be and that they shouldn't have ever been that way, is a superpower, you know, because things are going to keep changing in the future as well. And, you know, your ideas about things now may be very different to how they should be in the future, and that's perfectly okay. That's how things should be. It's called progress. So just, you know, as a man, leave your ego at the door. And the reason for that being primarily is just so that the lives of those around you are better. Point 4 is around leading by example. This point is extremely important, particularly because, you know, if you want to be a man and, you know, try and make a positive influence and a positive difference in people's lives, you know, you can't do that by just telling them what to do. You've got to lead by example. You've got to, you know, walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk. And if you see someone who's doing something that you think's not so right, or probably they could be doing things better, ultimately you're not going to get them to change their behavior by just telling them what to do. No one ever changes their mind based on the opinions of other people. They change their minds because it's something that they believe they want to do. So you have to get those people, whether it's your family, your friends, whatever it may be, to change their minds based on their own opinions. And they'll only do that if they see you being that example. So the best thing you can do is just be consistent, just lead by example every day in every situation. And the more you do that, the more you'll inspire those around you to do the same things. The more you'll inspire them to do good, the more you'll inspire them to be better. And that's why it's extremely important that the way you live your life is a way that you would want your kids to be proud of, because people see what you do, and people that you have influence over are going to follow that. So yeah, keep leading by example. Point 5, and the final point, is to teach others to think for themselves. Now this is extremely important because I think as a man, and generally as parents or whatever it may be, you try and teach your children the ways that you think are correct, the values that you think are correct, which is of course good and fine to a certain extent, but the point is that you don't want those around you to be susceptible to being conditioned by other people's points of view, by other people's opinions of how the world should be. And ultimately what you want to do as a man is to allow people the ability to think for themselves. Their thoughts and their opinions of the world do not need to be the same as yours. They shouldn't be the same as yours. They should be different. That's what's beautiful about diversity. That's what's beautiful about being unique. That's what's beautiful about all of the differences that we experience, is that people have different thoughts, people have different views, people have different opinions. The individual, I believe, is more important than the group, because a bunch of happy individuals is going to make a happy group. And I think groupthink, group mentality becomes very dangerous. And if we do not listen to other people's point of views, if we do not have various opinions, if we do not have different opinions, we're just going to land up with the same type of thinking. And that can become very dangerous. If a few people have a certain point of view that's damaging to the world, that's damaging to those around them, and you haven't taught someone to think for themselves, they're going to fall prey to that line of thinking, and you don't want that. You always want to create someone, to give someone the ability to look at something, to think for themselves, if that is a lifestyle that they want to adopt, if those tools are something they want to use. So yeah, that's the 5th and final point around being a man, is to create someone, to allow someone to think for themselves. So with those 5 points being finished, just in summary, in relation to being a man, ultimately I believe what it comes down to is, creating an environment, being the person that allows others to reach their full potential, that allows others to be happiest. And, you've got to leave old ideas in the past behind, and ultimately just look to improve the lives of those around you. And the only way you can do that is by checking yourself first, and checking if you are the type of person that allows for others to be the best version of themselves. And no one's perfect, and it all takes a lot of work, and everyone makes mistakes, but I think as long as you keep learning from it, and as long as you're aiming in the direction of trying to create the environment, the space for others to be their happiest, to be their best, whatever it may be. And especially if it's in contradiction to your ideas, your values, your beliefs, you just need to adopt the mindset that it doesn't matter. And what you're aiming for is to create happy and successful people around you.
Welcome to your meditation. I'm Dr. Robert Eric Dinnenberg, and I'll guide you through from start to finish. Mindfulness is present moment attention without judgment. For this meditation, we'll attend to our feet with mindfulness, and then we'll move on to the breath in the abdomen, and then to finish, we'll return to the feet. So let's get started. with mindfulness, start to observe your feet. Answer this question to yourself. What does it feel like to have my feet on the ground in this present moment? Explore this present moment experience of your feet. You might notice what it feels like to have your feet in your shoes, in your socks. You might observe different points of pressure presenting to different parts of your feet. And you might notice temperature. Simply observe whatever you notice. There's no right or wrong, no good or bad. Whatever you notice is okay. And anything that takes you away from this noticing is a distraction. Any thought about the future or the past, any worry or expectation, any internal dialogue or judgment, notice and let go. With forgiveness, with patience, notice and let go. Notice and let go. And shepherd your attention back to your feet. And when you're ready, let go of your feet and shift your attention to your abdomen. Here we find the home base for mindfulness of breathing. Observe what it feels like to breathe in this present moment. Explore and discover your own way of noticing your own breath. You might observe a rising of your abdomen as you breathe in, and a falling as you breathe out. Your own way of noticing your own breath might include registering an expanding feeling as you breathe in, and a deflating feeling as you breathe out. Ride the waves of your breath with your attention. Anything that takes you away from your breath is a distraction. Any thought about the future or the past, any worry or internal dialogue, any expectation or judgment, notice and let go. Notice and let go. With forgiveness, notice and let go. And time again, shepherd your attention back to your breath. Back to answering this very simple question. What does it feel like to breathe in this present moment? And when you're ready to transition out of the meditation, return to your feet. This time there can be some movement in your toes, and notice what it feels like to be moving your toes in this present moment. And let this movement transition you out of the meditation, so as your fingers are moving and, if you wish, your body's stretching, you can transition fully out of the meditation. Thank you.